Right now at 5, the Badgers face off against Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament. We're live from Indianapolis as Wisconsin tries to boost its seeding ahead of March Madness.
I'm Ellie Law Liberté, following how businesses are recovering 5 years since the pandemic.
And fighting to save the Department of Education, what Wisconsin is doing to prevent the Trump administration's funding cuts. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Thanks for staying with us at 5, everyone. It's been a nice afternoon today, but severe weather is in the forecast. The First Warn Weather Team has been tracking a line of storms all week long. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is on the weather patio, and what is it looking like today, Alex?
Susan, let's get right to it. There really hasn't been any changes with our future track model that shows that consistency in the expectation of this line of thunderstorms that's expected to move across southern Wisconsin as we go from 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. As we head towards 10 o'clock, watch how quickly this line of thunderstorms advances in from the south and west. Richland Center, Dodgeville, Madison by the time we get to 11, 12 o'clock. And it has an arc shape to it, meaning damaging winds is likely going to be out ahead of the leading line of storms, but it comes through very, very quickly, although behind it staying cloudy. I know folks have been also reaching out about the lunar eclipse. Not good viewing weather for the lunar eclipse because this is what we're up against. 60-mile-per-hour winds and the leading edge of that line of thunderstorms. We can't rule out the potential for an isolated tornado, and it's happening at nighttime when it's dark out, and nighttime severe weather events, let alone this being the first severe weather event of the season. That means business that you need to be prepared with a high threat for strong damaging winds. Coming up in Maine weather, I will track that line of storms with you again and also give you some safety preparedness tips to get ready for tomorrow night's storms.
All right, Alex, thank you. Now to coverage of the Big Ten tournament. The Badger men's basketball team is moving on to the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament after beating Northwestern 70-63 earlier today. We're providing team coverage of the game. Sports director Zach Hanley is with us here in the studio. Sports reporter Andrew Banstra is live from the tournament in Indianapolis, and reporter Tanasia Shaw got the best assignment. She's out talking to fans this afternoon out at State Street Brats. But let's start with Zach. Things off to a good start. Zach, you got the highlights of today's game.
Yeah, well, last year the Badgers entered the Big Ten tournament as the 5 seed and made that run all the way to Sunday's championship game. This year, Greg Gard's squad looking for a repeat performance. Up first, a second-round matchup with Northwestern. Greg Gard's squad has never lost to them in the conference tournament, and John Tonje was doing his part to extend that streak. Nothing but nylon on the fadeaway at the buzzer. Tonje had 18 points. The Badgers led by 7 at the break, and that lead would grow in the second half. Nolan Winter dials one up from deep. He also finished with 18 points. That triple puts Wisconsin up 11, and then you know what time it is. Closing time. Max Klesmit, back healthy, comes up with the step back, triple back. Badgers onto the quarterfinals with a 70-63 win. And our very own Andrew Banstra was there for the win. And now yesterday was your birthday, Andrew, and Nolan Winter must have found out because he put on a show in Indy.
Yeah, Zach, you could certainly say that. The 75-degree sunny weather here in Indianapolis did not stop Nolan Winter's storm. He scored those 18 points for the Badgers and was simply unstoppable on the offensive end, something he credits to simply having fun.
Just kind of let the game come to me. I didn't try to force anything, but as the game kind of went on and I've seen a couple of shots go through, I was just trying to play, more aggressive, more confident, more free. It's a credit to my coaches giving me the confidence to be able to do so. So, as I saw opportunities present themselves, I went out there and just kind of put the ball on the floor knowing I can do that and just had some fun out there.
But Winter and Wisconsin did not come here to just win one game. As Max Klesmit screamed to his teammates after the game in the locker room, we came to win the whole thing. At Gamebridge Fieldhouse, Andrew Banstra, News 3 Sports.
Have fun there, Andrew. Thank you so much, and continued success to the Badgers as the tournament rolls on. We're continuing our team coverage here in Madison. Fans are celebrating today's win as the Badgers advance to the next round. Our Tanasia Shaw is live downtown at State Street Brats. Beautiful afternoon to be outside with the fans, Tanasia. They must be happy.
Yes, Susan, as you said earlier, I have the best assignment, and I don't mean to brag, Susan, so sorry, but I think I do. I'm out here with this great weather, and we're celebrating a Badgers win. It's the perfect way to spend any day, but you know, for your pre-Friday, I would say it's amazing. That's all I would say. So as I just said, just about an hour ago, the Badgers beat Northwestern 70-63. You can see this crowd all around me. A lot of these people were here when I was watching the game earlier today. You know, they're excited, and we're out here just having fun like we have been all day. Now, earlier today, I got to speak to a lot of people. As I said, this bar was packed, and the whole time I was watching, sitting down, really, I guess you could kind of say fellowshipping with the fans. Everyone I spoke to said the win was basically a no-brainer, that they're excited to see UW advance to the next round. I also spoke to a Madison native. He says he's been watching this team his whole life, and it's been a journey for UW basketball, but he's confident in the team right now.
I grew up in Madison. I've been a Badgers fan for a long time. It's a great team, great players. Very happy. You know, we kind of slipped up a little bit these last few games, but I think this was a good statement win, and I feel confident as a fan.
And yeah, as he said, he's confident, and everybody out here who I've spoken to, they're also confident in the Badgers. And then next up, as Zach and Andrew have been saying, they will play UCLA. Now, Susan, I'm going to enjoy this sunshine, and I'm going to enjoy my time with these fans just a little bit more. I'll have another report tonight at 6 p.m. Reporting in Madison, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Have fun, Tanasia. Thank you so much. And we'll continue to bring you more coverage from Indianapolis tomorrow as the Badgers now prepare for UCLA in the quarterfinals. Tip-off is set for about 1:30, and the winner of that game will go on to face the winner of Oregon and Michigan State in the semifinals. In other news, this Thursday, a suspect is arrested in connection to a shooting at Westtown Mall last October. Madison police say the 28-year-old man was arrested on Tuesday by U.S. Marshals in Kalamazoo, Michigan. On October 25th, officers were called to reports of shots fired at the mall. Police say a single shot was fired inside, with the people involved running out of the building and leaving in a vehicle. No injuries were reported. Around this time 5 years ago, Governor Tony Evers ordered restaurants and businesses in Madison to limit capacity because of the pandemic. Today, our Ellie LaLiberte is checking in with one of those restaurants to see how they've bounced back.
Yep.
Joe Perkins knows firsthand that owning a restaurant isn't always easy.
I've been in the business for 30 plus years.
In the past 5 years, Tutto Pasta became Tutto with a touch of sass, changed locations, but is also trying to recover from the pandemic.
COVID hurt a lot of people, and it's still hurting a lot of people. How do you get back from something that happened that was that drastic?
He's still figuring out the answer to that question.
Most of the time, as a business owner, you can pretty much control what you're doing if you're involved. The pandemic, we couldn't control anything. We're still losing businesses now because of COVID, because people can't catch up. It's difficult.
This week, 5 years ago, Perkins went from a fully booked restaurant to-go containers, masks, and online orders.
When that happens, you're like, it's like just getting kicked in the stomach. And then you have to talk to your employees. You got to let them know, hey, this is what's happening right now. This is where we are financially. This is what we can do for now.
Perkins had to lay off about 15 of those employees. And although Madisonians like Tom August tried to help,
my wife and I would often do takeout foods from restaurants that we liked and frequented just to try to keep them open.
There are still challenges.
We pay a lot of money more now than we did 5 years ago for our food. Gas surcharges, things of that nature, you know.
So 5 years later, Perkins Takeaways.
Well, my goal would be to have it look like it did 5 years ago, before COVID.
Reporting downtown Madison, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. And just to put this in perspective, in 2020, about 30 Madison restaurants closed permanently because of the pandemic. Assembly members in the state capitol today approved a slate of crime-related bills. The package has a couple of provisions that are specific to Milwaukee, but it would also make changes to crime reporting here in South Central Wisconsin. Among the bills approved, a provision that would require district attorneys to get a judge to sign off to dismiss certain charges. This would be for alleged crimes like domestic abuse, abuse, stealing a car, sexual assault, or crimes against children. Another bill requires schools to notify parents if their child was the target of sexual misconduct by a school staff member. Those bills now head to the state Senate. Wisconsin's Attorney General Josh Kaul is joining a coalition challenging the Trump administration's major cuts to the Department of Education. The lawsuit alleges the administration is cutting the agency as a way to implement an unlawful plan to dismantle the department. Roughly 1,300 employees were notified they would be terminated in 90 days. President Trump has proposed eliminating the Department of Education altogether. Still to come tonight at 5, Alex will tell us about alert day conditions tomorrow in the forecast. And a partial government shutdown looms, why Democrats say they are not voting for a Republican-backed continuing resolution. Stay with us. On Wall Street today, the market tumbled once again. The Dow was down 537 points at the close. The Nasdaq fell 345 and the S&P dropped 78. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Today, President Trump announced he will not back down from 25% tariffs on all incoming steel and aluminum imports. He's also threatening tariffs up to 200% against some European goods after the EU placed retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. This as markets continue to tumble, with investors nervous about economic uncertainty from a looming partial government shutdown.
If there's a shutdown, it's only because of the Democrats, and they would really be taking away a lot from our country and from the people of our country.
Senate Democrats say the 6-month spending bill would further enable President Trump and Elon Musk to slash the government. They want a 30-day deal in order to negotiate a long-term solution. U.S. negotiators are in Moscow to present their plan for a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin said he agreed in principle with the proposal. Currently, Russian forces have the upper hand on the battlefield, where they are gaining ground. But if Russia refuses to agree to the interim ceasefire, President Trump has threatened economic consequences.
In a financial sense, yeah, we could do things very bad for Russia. Hopefully, they all want to end this nightmare.
3 years of war have devastated Ukraine, and it's thought to have caused hundreds of thousands of military casualties on both sides. Well, it's been a very nice afternoon today, but all eyes are on the forecast for tomorrow night. Here's Alex with the latest updates.
That's right, Susan. When you get 60s and 70s in March, you know that that's warm and unusual for this time of year. That's going to brew into alert day conditions, 60-mile-per-hour winds, perhaps an isolated tornado or two for Friday night going into early Saturday. Emphasize that again. This is a nighttime severe weather potential, which are always the most tricky because it's dark out. Let's track that right now and get to it. 9:30, those thunderstorms nearing the Mississippi River, Grant, Iowa, Lafayette counties, quickly advancing to the northeast, getting to Dodgeville, Lone Rock, Monroe by the time we get to 10 o'clock. Madison approaching that 11, 12 o'clock hour, rapidly racing towards the north and towards the east. A bit of an arc shape to this line of thunderstorms, which usually is a signal that strong damaging winds are going to be the main threats. Even behind that, we're going to be having cloudy conditions with more showers building in as we go into Saturday as the final cold front sweeps through, along with very windy conditions. We have a level 2 out of 5 risk for pretty much all of southern Wisconsin, although communities right down near the Dubuque area along the Wisconsin-Illinois border, you have a level 3 out of 5. That's an enhanced risk. And this again is for high risk for the potential for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, but we're keeping an eye on the potential of that isolated tornado risk on the leading edge of this line of storms. How can you prepare right now? Download the First Warn Weather app. Make sure that you're tuning in tomorrow morning to Jacob, and at noon, Jacob will be here with additional updates. Review your severe weather safety plan with the winds, even if they're sub-severe. Tonight would be a good opportunity to secure those loose objects, and after the severe weather potential sweeps through, Saturday is also going to be a very windy day as well. water amounts. We need the water. We don't need the severe weather, but we need the water. Anywhere between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch of water is expected with this line of thunderstorms. We could use it. We have moderate drought conditions or abnormally dry conditions across all of southern Wisconsin right now. And to add to this, we have an elevated fire risk as we go into Friday because we have humidity values which will be increasing, but we have dry fuels out there, windy conditions, and of course the unseasonably mild temperatures getting upwards of 75 to some places. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple upper 70s to near 80 on Friday. Unseasonably warm, that's 30 degrees above normal, if not 40 degrees above normal for this time of year, where average highs 42 and we're 30 to 40 degrees above that. Alert day conditions continue into Saturday. And that's because of strong winds of perhaps of 40 to 45 miles per hour. Example here, high profile vehicle drivers, just be on the lookout Saturday. It's going to probably impact travel a bit. St. Patrick's Day on Monday. Nice day, temperatures in the upper 50s to near 60. Warm on Tuesday, and then watching yet another impactful weather system for the Midwest that could bring us rain, changing to snow as we go into Wednesday of next week.
All right, Alex, thank you. Still to come at 5, people around the country are hitting the road and taking to the skies for spring break. But how much will a family trip set you back this year? That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Spring break is in full swing around the country. Many kids are out of school and just others are looking for warm weather. That's where Eric is this week on spring break. Chris Van Cleve is at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport with some tips if you're heading out for spring break.
Spring break is taking the Porter family from Phoenix to Florida. They usually do a road trip to California, but this year Jenna Porter and her 3 kids are hopping a flight to Panama City.
We wanted to try somewhere new, and all of our kids wanted to do a beach town, so it was the next best thing.
The TSA expects a 5% jump in flyers over last year. At Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, the nation's second busiest, that translates to 4.8 million flyers over the next couple of weeks. And while U.S. airlines are warning of slowing demand following the plane crashes, a drop in government travel, and economic uncertainty, United says spring break 2025 will be a record breaker, with the airline flying more than 24 million passengers by the end of April, with this week its busiest.
We are paying a bit more this year than we were last year, but it's not stopping people from traveling.
Aixa Diaz from AAA says on average domestic airfares are up 7% from last year, while hotel stays will cost you 8% more.
Spring break is one of those weeks that kids are off already, college kids are off, so families want to get together and go somewhere.
Gas is about 30 cents a gallon cheaper than spring break 2024. Good news for Kristen Jankowski, who flew to Atlanta to start a family road trip.
We're driving down to Miami, and then we're going to spend like a day down there, and then we're going to get on a cruise and then go from there.
There are still deals out there. You just have to be flexible with your travel dates and the place you go to visit.
Travel mom Emily Kaufman says bundling airfare, hotel, and rental cars can help save on a last-minute getaway, saving about $400 on 4 nights in Hawaii from Los Angeles or Nassau from Charlotte.
There are so many fantastic vacation destinations, and it's all about supply and demand. You might consider looking at a destination dupe. Instead of going to one of the most popular places, look for another destination that offers something similar.
Top travel destinations include Orlando, several other cities in Florida, Los Angeles, and Hawaii. Internationally, Europe dominates the list, but United says they also saw a boost in people booking last-minute winter getaways to squeeze in one more weekend on the slopes. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
And we'll have a final check on the weather when we come back. Coming up tonight at 6, it's been 5 years since the COVID pandemic, and concerns are growing that measles now could lead to a new epidemic. We'll hear more about that tonight at 6. And finally tonight, the Henry Vila Zoo has 2 new residents hailing from Africa. The zoo introduced the public to 2 male Cape porcupines. The brothers named Hammy and Nugget. You can find them in the children's zoo near the goat yard. The zoo says Cape porcupines are the largest rodents in Africa. Their quills are modified hairs made out of keratin, the same protein that makes human hair and nails. Contrary to popular belief, though, they cannot shoot their quills.
Good.
Yeah, that's good news. That's reassuring. And we're watching the weather, and so far it looks like all of the ingredients are coming together for a bumpy night tomorrow night.
Very much so. Let's go through this slowly. And at 6, just to add to that, Susan, I'm going to talk about one ingredient that could keep the severe weather threat on a little bit more on the tame side. We'll do that during the 6 o'clock newscast. But right now, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., that's the time frame that we're expecting this line of thunderstorms. Widespread 60-mile-per-hour winds are expected, could have stronger wind gusts. We can't rule out an isolated tornado, especially over far southwest Wisconsin. This isn't going to be an opportunity for lunar viewing tomorrow night, because even if the storms move through early enough, still could have lightning around, and we're still expecting clouds behind the storms.
That's unfortunately, but
yeah,
got to be safe. We'll see you at 6, everyone. Hope to see you then.